Hello, and welcome to the Introduction to Python Programming Part 1 webinar. My name is Ayman Zayan, and I'm a specialist in computer programming. This webinar is offered by the Continuing and Professional Education Directorate at the University of Doha for Science and Technology. In this webinar, 3 chapters will be covered. The first one, Introduction to Programming, Algorithms, and Problem Solving. The second one, Decision Structures and Boolean Logic. The third one, Repetition Structures. Chapter 1, Introduction to Programming, Algorithms, and Problem Solving. Types of languages. There is 2 different types of languages. The first one, low-level, or machine language, or machine code, which is used for communication with computer hardware directly. As you can see from the figure here, it consists of 2 digits. The first one is a 0, and the second one it's 1. While for the second types of the languages, it's the high level, which is closer to the human language and written by humans, such as Python programming language, C#, C++, Java, Pascal, Fortran, and COBOL. Now, the most important question is, how can we write programs into high-level languages and computer can still understand them? This is because compiler and interpreter. What is the compiler? Compiler is a software that converts the high-level programs into machine language instructions, while for the interpreter is a software that translates and executes high-level programs into machine language instructions. So the keyword in the compiler is convert, while the keywords in the interpreter are translates and executes. Convert, it means compiler has only one process of conversion that will convert the program which is written in high-level language into machine language instructions. While translates and execute, it means the interpreter has many translation and executions process that will translate and execute the program which is written in high-level language into machine language instructions. In order to explain this in detail, the next figure will explain how the compiler works and how the interpreter works. Compiler in this case has only one input, which is the program written in high-level language will be considered as a source code, and it will be input for the compiler. Compiler will convert the source code, which is written in high-level language, into machine language in only one conversion process. And this machine code will be executed and it will produce an output. While the interpreter will be having more than one input, which is also the source code, but it will be translated and executed instruction by instruction. As you can see, source code in high-level language will be an input for the interpreter. Then it will be translated and executed. Then the same process will be done for one more time for the next instruction, the third instruction, the fourth instruction, until the end of the program. Algorithm. Well, algorithm is one of the important concepts in computer programming. It's a set of well-defined steps for performing a task or solving a problem. And this word derives from the name of the mathematician Muhammad ibn Isa al-Khwarizmi, who lived in Baghdad from about 780 to 850. Khwarizmi in Arabic It means algorithm in English. Now, example of the algorithm, let's assume that I want to write an algorithm that will compute and print out the average of two numbers. So the following instructions are called an algorithm. I have over here 7 different instructions that will perform a specific task according to the definition over here. So the task here will be requesting from the user to insert the first number. So I have to display a message on the screen, and the content of that message is enter first number. I'll be waiting for the user in order to enter the number, and once I get the answer from the user, the value will be stored in the memory in a variable, for example, in this name, X. I will be repeating the question one more time, but now I will be requesting for the second number. The same process will be done again. I'll be waiting for an answer from the user, and once I get the answer from the user, it will be saved in a variable named Y. If I have the answer for the first number and I have the answer for the second number, now I can calculate the summation, which is the first input plus the second input. And the answer for X plus Y will be saved or stored in S. S is a variable in the memory or location in the memory that will be used in order to save the summation of the first number plus the second number. Now, if I have the summation or the total, I will be able to calculate the average by dividing the total over 2, and the result will be saved in a fourth variable, which is A. Now, if I have the average, I can easily print out the average on the screen, which is the 7th step, display a message on the screen, the average equal, then I have to print out the content of the variable A, which is contained the average of both numbers, X and Y. Notice that these steps are sequentially ordered, which means I cannot wait for the user input unless I already asked him to enter the first number. I cannot calculate the average unless I have the total. I cannot calculate the total unless I have the answer from the user for the first number and the second number. So the order here is very important. I can summarize the algorithm in something called pseudocode, which is similar to the code in high-level language, but actually this is not an actual code. It's something called pseudocode or similar to the code. So the 7 steps over here will be summarized in 9 steps because the first one will be start and the last one will be end. So I will be having 7 steps between 1 and 9, which is starting from 2 up to 8. So start, print, enter the first number. Read X, it means get the answer from the user for the first number and save it in X. Then print, enter the second number, which means get the answer from the user for the second number and save it in Y. Now, if I have the first number in X and the second number in Y, I can compute the total, which means X plus Y. If I have the total, I can calculate the average, which means S over 2. And the answer will be saved in A. Now, if I have the value of A, which is the average of the two numbers, X and Y, I can easily request to print out the content of A. And this will be the end of the program. One more example to calculate the area of rectangle. Again, I'll be starting with start and ending by end. And between start and end, I will be writing all the steps in something similar to the code or pseudocode. I have to print out a message on the screen, which is enter the length. Once I get the answer from the user, the answer will be saved in a variable x. So read x. I would be requesting from the user to enter the second value that represent width. I will get the answer from the user, and the answer will be saved in y. If I have x, which is length, y, which is width, can I calculate the area? The answer is yes. Area equal x multiplied by y. The result will be saved in a new variable a, or new location in the memory a. If I have the value of a, which represented the area of rectangle, I will print out a, and this will be the end of the program. Flowcharts. Both algorithm and flowchart describe how to carry out a process. Algorithm uses normal language to describe a step-by-step process on how to solve the problem, while the flowchart uses symbols to describe the steps of the solution. Computer programmers use flowchart to describe the flow of the program. Flowchart notations. Different symbols that will be used in order to design any flowchart for solving any problem. For example, this symbol, it means start-end symbol. And this one is an action or process symbol. The third one is an input-output symbol. The fourth one is decision symbol. The fifth one is connector symbol, while the last one, it's an arrows that represent the sequence and direction of the program. Mapping the algorithm to flowchart. In algorithm, this is how can I write start, and in flowchart, this is the design of the start, or the symbol that will be used in order to represent the start. This is how to write print, enter the first number, and this is how to write it or how to use it in the flowchart. I have to use the input-output symbol, and I have to write the message inside the symbol, which is print, enter the first number. Read X, this will be considered as input symbol, or this will be considered as input instruction. So I have to write it in the input symbol, read X. Print, enter the second number, this will be considered as an output message. So I have to write it in an output symbol, which is print, enter the second number. Read Y, read Y. Now, there is a computational process over here, which is sum equal the content of X plus the content of Y. So this will be a computational process. So it has to be listed in a computational symbol. After that, I can easily calculate the average. Average equal S over 2. Average equal S over 2. Finally, print A, it means this is an output process, so I have to use the input-output symbol in order to print out print A. Then end, which is the end of the flowchart. As you can see, I have more than one input operations, which is read X and read Y. For that, I have to use the input-output symbol. Also, I have more than one output operations. For that, I have to use the input-output symbol as well. Finally, I have two computational processes. The first one will be used in order to calculate the total, while the last one will be used in order to calculate the average. Chapter 2, Input Processing and output. Designing a program. Programs must be designed before they are written, which means I have to be aware about what is the input for the program, what will be the process in the program, and what is the output of the program. In order to do so, there is a program development cycle, which consists of 5 different steps. The first one, design the program. Design the program, it means I have to be aware what is the input and what is the output of the requested program. The second step is write a code. I have to start writing the code that will receive the input and it will convert it to the required output, and this program will be written in high-level programming language. The third one is correct syntax error, which means if there is any error in the program, I have to correct that error in order to be able to compile and run the program and produce the output. How can I know that this program has an error? By the compiler or the interpreter. By the way, Python is using interpreter, not the compiler. The fourth step is to test the program. Test the program, it means I have to compile and run the program, and I have to provide some input, and I have to check the output. If the output is equal to the expected output, it means that the program is written correctly and no more input or no more changes will be done in the program. Otherwise, I have to consider that there is something wrong in the program and I have to overcome this error. Last one is to correct the logical errors. What does it mean, the logical error? Logical error, for example, over here. S equal x plus y. X plus y, it means I will add the value or the content of x to the content of y. If by mistake I subtract y from x, so this will be considered as a logical error, and this error should be fixed. Now, the computer performs 3 steps process. The first one is to receive an input. The second one is to perform some process on the input, while the last one is to produce the output. For example, if I want to calculate and print out the average of 3 numbers, so the 3 numbers will be considered as an input to the computer, and the computer will calculate the average as a process, and finally, the program will print out the average of the 3 numbers as an output. Print method or print function. It's a function which is used to display an output on the screen. And this is an example. Print hello world. And because hello world is a message considered as a string, so it has to be written between single quotation or double quotation. As an example, print open and close parenthesis, double quotation, hello world. Then, by clicking on run, I will get this output, hello world. By the way, before proceeding on writing more code, just to let you know that if you go to help about, this is the software in use, which is Visual Studio Code. And this is the version 1.77.0. For sure, you can download and install a higher version than this one. This is one point. The second point, if I want to increase the font or zoom in and zoom out, I will click on Control, then scroll up and down. Control, scroll up and down by the mouse. However, in order to do this, I have to be aware that this option is activated. How? By clicking on File, Preferences, Settings. Then in this search bar here, I have to write zoom. After that, make sure that you tick on zoom the font of the editor when using mouse wheel and holding control. If this option is not active and I close the setting, by clicking on control wheel up and down, it will not affect. I will not be able to zoom in and out. In order to do so, again, File, Preferences, Settings, right here, Zoom, make sure that you activate this option, then close Settings, Control Zoom in and out by the wheels up and down, and you will be able to do it. This is one of the ways. The second way, if I want to zoom in and out the whole screen of the whole program, I can click on Control plus and Control minus. But in this case, I will zoom the interface, not only the editor, which is the code. By clicking on Control wheel of the mouse, which is up and down, I'll be able to zoom in and out for the code. But by using Control plus minus, I will be able only to zoom in and out the whole program or the interface of the program. Okay, so print hello world between single quotation or double quotation will do the same operation. Yes, this is double quotation and this is single quotation. By the way, when I say save your work, it means I have to click on Control plus S. So when you click Control S, it means I'm saving my work. Control S. So compile and run. I will get hello world twice. One as an output for this statement, and the second one as an output for this statement, which means I can use double quotation for writing any string or single quotation. String is a sequence of characters that is used as data and must be enclosed in single or double quote marks. So it also can be written print hello world using the double quotation as per the code over here. Comments. Comments are notes of explanation within a program, and it's ignored by the Python interpreter, intended for a person reading the program's code, and it should begin with hash character. Like here, this is a comment. What does it mean, a comment? Comment, it means no matter what is written after the hash pound, it will not be executed by the interpreter. For example, print hello world. This line completely will be ignored by the interpreter. Because of what? Because of the hash pound here, which means whatever after the hash pound, this is starting from here up to the end of the line, this will be considered as a comment. So when you compile and run, I will not get any output for the line written in green. Ignored by Python interpreter? Yes, I didn't get any output. Intended for person reading the programs, it means I can write a message for the person who will be reading my code, like this program will print out the hello world message. This program will print out the hello world message. And it has to begin with the hash character. It has to begin with hash character. Variable. It's a name that represents a value stored in the computer memory, used to access and manipulate data stored in the memory. and the variable reference the value it represents. For example, age equal 29. And this is the format of how to write a variable and how to assign a value or an expression for that variable. Variable equal expression or a value. Like what? Like here, age equal 29. So the equal sign here, it will assign the value 29 to the variable age. Age is a variable which is stored in the memory or a location in the memory that has this name. So whenever you want to access the variable age, I have to just print out the content of age and it will print out the value 29. Let's practice. For example, age equal 29. If I want to print out the age, I have to use the method print and I have to type age, then compile and run. This will be the output. Hello world as the first output, hello world as the second output. 29 will be saved in the location in the memory which has this name, age. So this is a variable, exists in the memory. So when I call the method print and I will pass age as a parameter, it will print out the content of the age, which is 29. The last note here, a variable reference the name it represents, which means which one is better? When I ask the user about his age, to save his answer in a variable age or to save his answer in X. So this one is much better than this one. Why? Because the variable should reference the value it represents. So if this value will be used as an age, so it has to be stored in a variable named age. If this value, which is 10,000, will be used as the amount of money or the salary, so I have to save it in a variable salary. Salary equal, much better than y equal 10,000. Okay, variable will be used in order to save a value or expression. What does it mean, expression? For example, if I have number 1 equal to 5 and number 2 equal to 10, then total equal to number 1 plus number 2. So variable total now will be used in order to save an expression. But number 1 as a variable will be used in order to save a value. And this is the difference between using a variable to save a value or using a variable to save an expression. For sure, if I try to print out the content of the total, I will get the output of this expression, which is 5 plus 10. So I will get 15. Compile and run. 15. To zoom out, Control plus in order to check the result of my, or the output of my program. Control plus. But in this case, I will be zooming in and out the interface of the program. Control minus to zoom out, Control plus to zoom in. Okay, now there is one more important issue. What about if I want to clear the output over here? I can add the following. Import the library OS. Then from the OS, I will be using the method system and I will be passing in double quotation or in single quotation, both accepted. I will be passing CLS, which is stand for clear screen. CLS stand for clear screen. If I compile and run, so each time I will clear the screen first before executing the code. Clear the screen, it means make sure that the console output is completely cleared from the previous running of the programs. Clear screen. Okay. In assignment statement, variable receiving the value must be on the left side. And this is the format, x equal 4. I cannot say 4 equal x, but it has to be x equal 4, which means save this value in this variable. A variable can be passed as an argument or as a parameter to the function. This is true, like here. Print total. Total is a variable, and I pass it to the method print or to the function print as a parameter. Method print, in order to be executed, it should receive a parameter or it should receive an argument. So I will be able to pass my variable or the variable total as an argument to the print. Also, I can pass to the method print an argument of type string in single quotation or double quotation. So the conclusion is, using print, you can pass an argument of type string in double quotation or an argument of type string in single quotation. Also, you can pass a parameter, one of the parameter as a variable. You can pass it as a variable. For example, total or number 1 or number 2. So print out, print out, print out. Variable name should not be enclosed in quote marks. If I want to print out the content of total, it has to be written without double quotation or single quotation. Otherwise, the compiler will consider it as a message you want to print it. As a test, single quotation, single quotation, double quotation, double quotation, single quotation, single quotation. This is completely different than this one. Because here I want to print out the content of the variables, but here I want to print out this as a message. Let's test. Compile and run. Print out number 1, it will print 5. Print out number 2, it will print 10. Print out total, it will print 15. Print out number 1, number 2, and total, it will print out number 1, number 2, and total as a string because of the single quotation and the double quotation. So print x is completely different than print x in single quotation or double quotation. You can only use a variable if a value is assigned to it. For example, number 3 and print out number 3, or number, print out number. And I will delete the rest of the code. In this case, because number is empty, has no value, I will not be able to print the content of that variable. So you can only use a variable if a value is assigned to it. So I can do this if I assign any value like this. Otherwise, error. Variable naming rules. The rules for naming a variables in Python are: variable name cannot be a Python keyword. Like what? Like number equal 3, this is accepted, but and equal 3, this is not accepted. Why? Because and is a keyword or reserved word in Python. One more example, or. One more example, and or not equal to 3. One more example, return equal to 5. This is not accepted. Why? Because and or not return all are considered as reserved word in Python. In Python, we have 30 to 33 reserved word according to the version in use. So according to the comment here, variable name cannot be a Python key code. Yes, it cannot be a Python key code. Number is considered as a variable name because it's not a key code or a keyword. Variable name cannot contain spaces. I cannot say number space 3 equal to 3, but I can say number 3 with no spacing equal to 3. First character must be a letter or an underscore. A letter or an underscore. This is accepted. However, if I replace the first character by hash pound, this will be considered as a comment. By $, I will get an error. So it has to be a number or a letter. After the first character, may use letters, digits, or underscore. After the first character, letters like U, digits like 4, or underscore. This is accepted. For sure, I have to rewrite the variable name here again. Undo, undo, it means Control Z, Control Z. For undo, undo. Variable names are case sensitive. So H in a small letter is completely different than H in capital letter. Let's prove it. H small letter, it's equal to 1, while H in capital letter, it's equal to 2. So if I try to print out, H in a small letter and to print out H in capital letter, in this case, I will get an output. The first one will be 1 and the second one will be 2. Compile and run. 1 and 2. So it's a case sensitive. H is in a small letter is completely different than H in capital letter. Variable name should reflect its use. As we explained already, age equal to 29 is much better than X equal to 29. Salary equal to 10,000 is much better than Y equal to 10,000. So variable name should reflect its use. If this value will be used in order, or if this variable will be used in order to save a value that will be considered as a salary, so the variable name has the same meaning, which is salary or income, for example. But do not use letters like X or Y or Z or XY. This is the variable naming rules. This one is accepted, total sales, because it starts with a character and it's not starting with not starting with a digit like this one. Let's take it step by step or one by one. This is valid. It has letters. This is valid. And it has, the first one, it has no space in the middle. It has no space in the middle. This one is accepted because the underscore in the middle, even if it is at the beginning, it will be accepted. So this is valid and this one is valid. The third one, it's not valid because it contains dot. Contains dot, it means the position of the dot is not accepted anywhere. Total dot sales. For example, let's do it here. Total dot sales equal to 29. This is not accepted even if you put it at the beginning. Even if you put it at the beginning. So using dots is not accepted in the variable name. Starting with digit, like this one, also it's not accepted because it starts with a number, 4 or 5 or 6, well, no matter what is the number is. Total sales, $sign is not accepted because it contains. So remember, contains, it means this character is not accepted to be listed. This character is not accepted to be listed in the variable name. But starting with the number is not accepted, but if it contains a number, it will be accepted, like here. Total or sales in the middle is accepted, but in the beginning is not accepted. Last one is accepted because it contains underscore even in the middle or in the beginning, it will be accepted. Python allows to display multiple items within a single call to print. Items are separated by commas when passed as an argument, and we will explain this. Arguments displayed in the order they are passed to the function or to the method. And finally, items are automatically separated by a space when displayed on the screen. Let's test salary equal to 1,000, then print out a message, my salary is salary. Okay, so salary equal to 10,000, it's already exists, and I can print out a message here, which is between double quotation or between single quotation, my salary is space salary. So what will be the output of this code? My salary is colon. Okay, combine and run. This will be the output. Let's use zoom in for the interface by clicking on Control plus, Control plus, Control plus. Okay, one more combine and run. So my salary is 10,000. Control plus one more time. This will be the output. My salary is colon space 10,000. If you can notice here in the code, I didn't add a space after the colon. After the colon, there is no space. And I didn't add a space before the comma, even after the comma. So there is a space exists over here, and this is explained the comment. Items are separated by commas. No, argument displayed in order. Yeah, this one. Items are automatically separated by a space when displayed on the screen. Even if in my code, I didn't add any space, but actually the Python will be adding a space after the first argument and before the second argument. So after the first argument, this is the first argument up to here. Starting from my salary is colon, this is the first argument. And this is the second argument, salary, which is 10,000. However, you can notice here that there is a space, and this is explained this comment or this note. Items are automatically separated by a space when displayed on the screen. Arguments displayed in the order. Here, I passed this string as the first output and the salary as the second output, and it should be displayed in the same order. My salary is 10,000. Items are separated by commas. Yes, the first one is separated than the second one by comma. Control minus to zoom out. Control minus to zoom out. Remember, Control plus, Control minus for zooming out and zooming in. The interface of the program, while in the editor, if you click on Control, scroll up and down, you will zoom in and zoom out the code. The code only. Okay. Displaying multiple items with the print function. Variables can reference different values while program is running. So if a new value is stored in the variable, it replaces the previous one. Let's test. Well, if the salary is equal to 10,000, then I update the value of the salary to be equal to 15,000. If I try to print out the content of the salary, so I will get 15,000, which is the most updated value. Salary equal to 10,000, salary equal to 15,000. The printed out value will be the most updated one, which is 15,000. The output of the program here will be 50 because 50 will be replacing 10. And the most updated one will be printed, which is 50. Data types. Categorize the value in the memory. For example, for the integer, we are using int, stand for integer. For the real number, we are using float. And for the string, in order to store strings in memory, we are using str, stand for string. The number written in a program with no decimal point considered as an integer. Otherwise, it will be considered as a float. For example, int equal 12, float equal 3.41, and the last one string equal hello. As a test, so integer equal 12, float equal 3.41, and finally string equal hello. As you know, we can use double quotation or single quotation. So if I didn't add decimal point in the number, this will be considered as an integer. This will be considered as an integer. So 12 is considered as an integer value, 3.41 is considered as a float, and hello is considered as a string. Actually, this is a variable name. So I have to use like number 1 and number 2, and finally, for example, string 1. So this will be considered as a value of type integer because it has no decimal point. And this will be considered as a real number or a float because it has a decimal point. And this will be considered as a value of type string because it's written between the double quotation. Variable that has been assigned to one type can be reassigned to another type. Like here, x equal 10, print x, it will print 10. But x equal hello world, print x, it will print hello world. Test. So when x equal 10, print x, it will print 10. But when x equal double quotation, hello world, print x, it will print hello world. Copy paste hello world in single quotation. Like this. Also, it will print hello world. Test, compile and run. So for the first one, it will be 10. For the second one will be hello world. And for the last one also will be hello world. Most programs need to read the input from the user. For that, I have to use the method input, which is built-in method in Python or built-in function in Python that read inputs from the keyboard, and it will return the data as a string. And this is the format: variable equal input and prompt between parentheses. Prompt is typically a string instructions instructing user to enter a value, which means I'm requesting from the user to enter a value. And does not automatically display a space after the prompt. As a test. For example, if I want to request from the user to enter his salary, so I can use the method input, and between parentheses, I will pass a message to the user. Enter your salary, please. Actually, I am expecting an input from the user. So this input will be saved in salary equal. Salary equal to. Let's test. Or print parentheses, double quotation, comma, salary, your salary is. Your salary is. Combine and run. So enter your salary, please, 10,000. Your salary is 10,000. Okay. So does not automatically display a space after the prompt. It means if you want to print out a space after the prompt, you have to add it manually, not like the print method. between the parameters, it will add a space. Even here, I didn't add a space after is. I didn't add a space before comma or after comma, but I will get a space because print automatically will add a space between the arguments. But input will not automatically add a space after printing the prompt to the user. So if I want to add this space over here, it has to be added manually over here. Otherwise, if I delete this space, save my work by clicking on Control S, compile and run, my answer will be completely attached to the message. Please, colon, the input from the user. So to add a space, I have to add it manually like this. Math expressions, which performs a calculation and gives a value. For example, addition. So answer equal 7 plus 3 semicolon. It means the answers is a variable and the content of that variable will be the summation of 7 plus 3. And it will produce for sure 10. Then for subtraction, answer equal to 7 minus 3. So the output will be 4. Let's test. For example, print 7 plus 3. And this is, I will take it like this. Combine and run. Between parentheses. Okay, compile and run. Okay, 10,000. Okay, look. So 7 plus 3, I can add equal to. One more test. No need to execute this code any more, so I can add a hash pound here and here. So the compiler will consider this as a comment. Okay, test, compile and run. So 7 plus 3 equal 10. So 7 plus 3 space equal, this is really will be considered as a string message. So it will be printed as is 7 plus 3 space equal. And as you know, after using the print, it will automatically separate the first parameter from the second parameter by adding a space. So this space is automatically added, not manually. Because if I add it manually here, it will be displayed twice. Compile and run. Look how many spaces here. 1, 2. But I only added 1 space. So I have to remove the 1 space from here, and I will get it here automatically. Compile and run. So 7 plus 3 equal 10. One more test is for minus. Copy paste. 7 minus 3 equal 2. One more test for multiplication. 7 multiplied by 3 equal 2. One more test for division. Standard division and integer division. Last test, or one more test for the modulus. And the last one for the power exponent. Double asterisk, compile and run. Compile and run. Okay, so 7 plus 3 equal to 10. This will be the output of the first statement. 7 minus 3 equal to 4. This will be the output for the second statement. 7 multiplied by 3 equal 21. This will be the output of the third one. 7 over 3 equal to 2.3333, which means this is not an integer division, and the output will contain the floating point, and the fraction will appear as well. Why? Because I'm using only single division, not double division. What's the difference between the single and the double? For the double division, it will be considered as, or I am requesting to get an integer value as an output. So 7 over 3, yes, it's equal to 2.333, but actually the fraction will be discarded. The fraction will be discarded. The next is 7 modulus 3. 7 modulus 3, it will be 1. And I will explain it now. And finally, 7 to the power, actually, this will be a little bit big. Let's take it as an example here. 2 to the power 3. 2 to the power 3 and 2 to the power 3. Compile and run for one more time. So 2 to the power 3 will be 8, which means 2 multiplied by 2 equal to 4 multiplied by 2 equal to 8. It means raise 2 to the power of 3. Okay, let's return back here to the modulus, how the modulus will be calculated in general, not only in Python, in general. So, as for the modulus, when you try to compute 7 modulus 3, interpreter will do the following first. It will be 7 over 3. 7 over 3, it's equal to 2 point something. Then interpreter will multiply 2 by 3. It will produce 6. Then 6 will be subtracted from 7. The output will be 1. And this is how to calculate the remainder or the modulus. Let's take one more example. Let's take one more example. For example, 11 modulus 3, how it will be calculated. So, step number 1, 11 modulus 3 will be 11 over 3. Step number 2, the answer for this operation is 3 point something. Step number 3 is interpreter will take this value as an integer only, which is 3, and multiply it by the value here, which is also 3. Step number 4 is interpreter will subtract this value minus this operation, which is 9, equal 2. So the answer for this, 11 modulus 3, it's equal to 2. 11 modulus 3, it's equal to 2. Okay. Python operator precedence. Operations enclosed in parentheses. This is the highest precedence. It forces the operation to be performed before the others. The second precedence is the exponential, which is double asterisk. The third one is the multiplication, which is single asterisk, division, even the single or the double, and remainder, which is the modulus. And the last one is plus and subtraction. So if there is a parenthesis, it has a precedence which is higher than the next. If there is double asterisk, which is the power, or exponential, it means it has precedence higher than the multiplication, division, single or double, the modulus, subtraction, and addition, and so on. Higher precedence performed first. Same precedence operators execute from the left to right. Let's take an example here. So I have multiplication. So this is higher than plus and minus. So interpreter will execute this operation first. 2 times 2 equal to 4. Actually, I have plus and minus in the same level. So in this case, will be from the left to right. So this is 4. Then the interpreter will execute this, and it will produce 6. Then the interpreter will execute this, and it will produce 4. One more test. I have a parenthesis here, and I have multiplication. Parentheses should be executed first because it's higher than the multiplication in the precedence. So 2 plus 2 equal to 4. Then the interpreter will evaluate this. So 2 multiplied by 4 equal to 8. Then the interpreter will evaluate this, which is 8 minus 2. It will equal to 6. Then one more parenthesis here. 2 minus 2 will be evaluated first by 0. Then this 1 second, 0 multiplied by 2 will be evaluated second by 0. Then 0 plus 2 will be evaluated recently or third by producing the result 2. I have parentheses here and here. So this will be 4. It has to be executed first. And this will be executed second because from the left to right. Then 2 minus 2 equal to 0. Then I have to multiply 0 by 4 or 4 by 0, so it will produce 0. Exponent operator. For raising a number to a power, a equal x to the power of y, or a equal x exponent y. It means multiply x by x, y times. Remainder operator performs the division and return the remainder. So 4 modulus 2 equal to 0 because 4 over 2 equal to 2, then 2 multiplied by 2 equal to 4, then 4 minus 4 equal to 0. 5 modulus 2 equal to 1. I already explained it. For one more time, I'll do it. So 5 modulus 2, it will be 5 over 2 first, which is 2 point something. Then interpreter will multiply 2 by 2. It will produce 4. Their interpreter will subtract 4 from 5, so the result will be 1. This concept you usually or typically used to convert the times and the distance and to detect if the number or the value is odd or even. In algebra, I can write area equal LW, which means L multiplied by W, length and width. But in high-level programming language, I cannot use this way, and I have to add an operator between the L and the W. Let's test. If I have, for example, L equal 10 and W equal 10, if I want to print the area equal LW, here LW, interpreter will not understand that you want to multiply L by W because you have to add an operator here which is multiply. You have to add the operator here which is multiplying. Otherwise, if you add LW without the operator, interpreter will consider that LW is a variable, and you are trying to print out the variable that has this name LW, which is not exist. For that, you will get an error. Otherwise, if you add one more variable LW equal to 10, you will not get an error because you want to try to print out the content of the variable LW, and LW is already exist. But if this is not exist, and it means, this code means you want to multiply L by W, so I have to add the operator multiplication over here. Exponential operator, S to the power of 2. I cannot write this in high-level programming language, but you can write it in algebra. However, coding, you have to do it like this. Let's test. S asterisk asterisk 2, or L asterisk asterisk 2. And L here is equal to 2 or equal to 3. Save, compile, and run for testing. So 3 times 3 equal to 9. 3 times 3 equal to 9. Okay, in algebra, I can write a formula like this. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But in high-level programming language, I have to write it like this. y2 minus y1 between parentheses, and the result will be divided by the output of this operation first. So this operation has to be executed first. Let's say it will produce, for example, 10. And this operation has to be executed second. Let's say it will produce, for example, 5. Then this operation will be executed third. And for, in this case, it will be equal to 2. 10 over 5 equal to 2. Okay. Data type resulting from math operation depending on the data type of the operands. For example, if I have 2 integer values, the result will be integer, like here. Print 1 plus 2, save. So it will print the integer 3. But if 1.0 plus 2.0, it will produce 3.0. Because for the float, if the two floats, it will produce float. Yes, this is float, and this is float, and the output will be float. Okay, what about mixing between the integer and the float? Like 1 plus 2.0, for sure, it will produce a float or a real number because there is one of the operands are a real number or a float value. So the result will be float as well. One integer and the other one is float, integer temporary, converted to float. Result, the operation is a float. And this will be considered as mixed type expression. Mixed type expression. Now, what is the value of the x in the following statements? X equal 2.0 over 4. The result here will be float. Let's test. 2.0, or let's say 8.0 over 4. The result will be float. Even if you change the 8 by 2, the result also will be float. Why? Because one of the operands is real number, and here I am using the standard division, not the integer division. So the result for sure will be float. 4 over 8, 4 over 8, this is undo 4 over 8. Save, compile and run. 4 over 8 equal to 0.5. Even if both operands are integer, but here I am using the standard division, not the integer division. So if there is a fraction, it will be displayed. If I want to discard the fraction here, I have to use the integer division like this. Compile and run. So I will get a real number or an integer value, not a value of type double or not a value of type float. Okay, we did the second and the third. Okay, what about this expression? 4 plus 8 over 2 minus 3. 4 plus 8 over 2 minus 3 multiplied by 2 modulus 2. Okay, so division, multiplication, and modulus are how many operators here? I have plus, division, subtraction, multiplication, and modulus. Okay, so let's return back to the presidency. Okay, so for the multiplication, division, if it is the standard one or the integer division and the modulus in the same level. This will be in the same level of priority or the same level of precedence. And it's higher than the plus and the minus. So in that case, the execution will be from the left to right for the four operators over here. Okay. So in that case, 8/2 will be executed first. 8/2, which is 4. And 3 multiplied by 2 will be executed second. So 3 multiplied by 2, let me clear and do it one more time. Okay, so 8/2 will produce 4. Then 3 multiplied by 2 will produce 6. Then 6 modulus 2 will produce 0. Now 4 plus 4 equal 8. 4 plus 4 equal 8. 8 minus the output of the whole operation here is 0. So the result here will be 8. Let's test. Yes. And why 8.0? Because, yes, all the values are integer, but actually here I am using the standard division that will accept to print out a value of type float. So the output here will be float, and the output here with the modulus will be float. So the full output here will be a value considered as a float, not an integer value. Okay, integer 3.0/2. So 3.0/2 will be executed first, and it will produce 1.5. But here, you will convert the output to a value of type integer. So converting the output to a value of type integer, it means you are giving an instruction to discard the value after the floating point. And the result here will be integer only, or it will be 1 only. Let's test. So print between parentheses 3.0/2, and this should be changed to or converted to integer. 3.0/2 to be converted to an integer. How many parentheses I opened? I opened 1, 2, and I closed 1, 2. If you can see here, there is one in red. It has to be deleted and save your work. One test for compiling and run. So 3.5, if I didn't use integer, let's delete integer, save, compile and run. What will be the result? 1.5. Because this is float, and this is a standard division, not an integer division. So for sure, the output will be float. But because of the int here, you enforce the compiler to convert the 1.5, which is the output of this division, converted to 1 only. Compile and run. So you want to force the output to be converted to a value of type integer, so you will get 1 only as an output. Long statements cannot be viewed on the screen without scrolling and cannot be printed without cutting off. Multi-line continuous character, like backslash, allows to break a statement into multiple lines. For example, result equal variable 1 multiplied by 2 plus variable 2 multiplied by 3, and so on. This is a very long statement, and in order to write it, I can write it in 2 lines, but I have to use the continuation character, which is the backslash. Let's test. Variable 1 equal 1. Variable 2 equal 2, 3 equal to 3, 4 equal to 4, 5 equal to 5. Okay, so result it's equal to variable 1 multiplied by 1 plus copy paste 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. Okay. Then print result. For testing, compile and run, I will get 15. What about if I want to split this expression into 2 lines? So over here, I can add enter, but in this case, I'll get an error. Why? Because compiler is expecting something after the multiplication. So if I add backslash, still there is an error. So it's much better to add the backslash after the pluses, after the plus. So adding an enter here, then backslash. Like this, compiler will produce the same result, 15. Okay, what about if I add the plus over here and I compile and run the program like this? So what will be the output in this case? The output in this case will be 3. Why? Because compiler will, or the interpreter will multiply the content of variable 1, which is 1. It will be multiplied by 1. So 1 times 1 equal to 1, and 2 times 1 equal to 2. So 1 plus 2 equal to 3. So interpreter will consider this as a separated statement, which has no relation with the next line. But in order to force the interpreter to execute this expression as only one expression, in this case, I have to use the continuation character, which is the backslash. So for sure, in this case, the result will not be 3, but the result will be the output of the whole expression, which is 15. Also here, this is another example, but I will not use the backslash because of what? Let's take one more test. I can compile and run this code for one more time and get the same result without using the continuation character by adding open parentheses here and closing the parentheses here. Save. So interpreter will start executing the code after the parentheses, and it will search for the closing parentheses of the opened one until here. So in that case, when you compile and run, you will get 15 without using the continuation character because of the open and closing parentheses. Okay, formatting the numbers. Can I format the number? Can I manage the number of digits that will be displayed after the floating point? The answer is yes, by using the format. By using the format. Let's test. So print format. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dot 6, 7, 8, 9. And I want to format this like .2 float method print. So what will be the output of this code? Compile and run. This will be the output of this code. So here, interpreter will consider this value as a value of type float. And according to the format here, I am requesting to display only 2 digits after the floating point. So after the floating point, 2 digits only will be displayed, which is 6 and 7. But actually, 7 will be rounded up to 8 because of the values listed after that. So the output will be 6, 8, rounded up to 8. If I add 3, combine and run, So the result will be 679 because it has to display only 3 digits, which is 678. But actually, after 8, there is some digits, so it will round up. 8 will be 9. What about if this is not 8, it's 4? It will be rounded up to 5. It will be rounded up to 5. So I have to round up either to more than 5, according to the value displayed here. If it is below 5, so I will round up according to the value which is displayed here. Let's take one more example. If this is 3, so 3, 9, it will be 4. Let's say that this is 6. 6, 9, it will be 7, and so on. So rounding up, not rounding down, rounding up. Okay, what about if this value is saved in a variable? Can I still do the same operation? Yes, for example, number equal to this value. And I will pass here number. So what will be the result? The same. I'll get the same. So I can format a value and I can format a number, a variable. I can format a value and I can format a variable. So the parameter here, I can pass it as a value or I can pass it as a variable. Okay, let's take one more example like this one. Number 1, 2 up to 6. So num1 equal to 127.899, 127.899. This is for the first value. For the second value, this is 3465.148, 3465.148. Number 2. Number 3 will be 3.776, 3.776. Number 4 will be 264.82, 264.82. Number 5, 88.081. And finally, the last one is 799.999, 799.999. And this will be number 6. Okay. Now let's format by using the same method, but instead of 0.3, I will use 7.2f. 7.2f. This is for what? For number 1. Copy paste 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I will replace the variable name to be 2, to be 3, to be 4, to be 5, and to be 6. Okay. Now, let me copy this code one more time and print out the value directly without using the format, just to number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, just to notice what's the difference between printing with format and without format. Okay, so this is the content of number 1. No need for this code anymore. Okay, so this is the content of number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And here I will print out the content of the 6 different variables without using the format method, and I will do the same operation one more time with using the format method in this format. Okay, what's the difference? Combine and run. So this is the output for the print operation without using the format, starting from here up to here. And starting from here, 7.3, Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last one is 7. Okay. Yeah. Five, 6. Okay, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so this is the output of the statements print starting from 1 up to 6. If you can check what is the output here. The output here, it will print out the number directly without using any kind of format. Okay, and this is the output in case okay, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I believe it's much better to make it 8 here. And I will explain it now. 8, 8, 8, 8. Save your work, compile and run one more time. Yeah. Okay, so this is the output without format. Control Z. And this is the output with format. What's the difference? The difference here is, according to the instruction, you want to display the content of number 1 in 8 spaces. In 8 spaces. For example, what is the content of number 1? The content of number 1 is 127.899. Did I display it here in 8 spaces? Let me move this one or move the result. Yeah, okay. Okay, did I explain or did I display 127.899 in 8 spaces? The answer is yes. I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the last one will be empty, 8. Okay, what about the second value? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So the content will be 8 as well. What about the third one? The third one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as an empty, 7 as an empty, 8 as an empty. So actually format, as you can see, it will align the ones to be listed under each other. The tens will be listed under each other if it has no tens, if the value has no tens, so it will be space, empty space. This is the tens, and this is the hundreds. 1, 4, it has no hundreds, it has 100, it has no 100, it has. And this is the thousands. And all the numbers or all the floating points will be listed under each other. And finally, all the fractions also will be listed under each other. So which one it looks better in terms of the display? Actually, when you use the format, much better than printing the value without format. And remember, what does it mean? 8.3f, it means this is a value, a float value, and I want to display it in 8 different spaces. And I counted already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And after the floating point, I want to display only 2 digits or 3 digits over here after the floating point. For sure, if I replace it by 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, save your work, compile and run. So you will get the same result, but only I will display 2 digits after the 2. The biggest value here, which is this one, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because it has no more digits. So the last one will be empty space. The last one will be an empty space. So this is the difference between printing without format and printing with format. Okay. Okay, what is the output of this expression? X equal to 10, X equal to X plus 5, print X. For sure, the output here will be 15. The output here will be 15. So if X is equal to 10, X is equal to X plus 5, print X. So combine and run, I will get 15 because X is equal to 10. Then I will update X by adding the old value of X, which is 10 to 5. So the result of this expression will be 15. So X equal to 15. So this value will be saved over here, and I will print the most updated value, which is 15. If you remember, while declaring the variables, I mentioned that this is how to assign a value to a variable, or how to assign an expression to a variable. Okay, so this is how to assign a value, and this is how to assign an expression, and this is the output of the last value for X. Chapter 3, Decision Structures and Boolean Logic. Sequence structures. All the previous programs were in sequence structure. For example, over here, the first statement is to assign a value to the variable. The second statement is to assign expression to a variable. The last statement is to print out. Can I print out without assign? Can I do like this? Print out without assign? Undo, 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 cut, and paste. For sure, I cannot, because I am trying to print out the content of X, and before this statement, I didn't add any value for X, even I didn't declare X. So the sequence should be followed. So sequence structure, set of statements that execute in the order they appear. I cannot execute in this order, but I can execute this order, so this is a sequence structure. Assume that I want to read 3 grades and display fail if the average is less than 60, and display pass if the average is greater than or equal to 60. So in this case, what will be the sequence for executing or for implementing or for writing this program? I have to request from the user to enter the 3 grades. Then I have to compute the average. Then I have to check if the average below 60, I will print fail, otherwise I will print pass. So this is the sequence of the execution. Decision structure, specific action or actions performed only if the action exists. I will explain it in detail in the next slides. To form a condition, we need to use relational operators. What is the relational operators? Relational operators are used to compare elements, numbers, or characters to determine the relative order. For example, this operator, it means greater than, and this operator, it means less than. This one, greater than or equal. This one, less than or equal. This one is equal, and the last one is not equal. And you have to distinguish between single equal and double equal. It will be explained in detail now. For example, the value of the relational expression will be either true or false. 12 greater than 5. Is it true? Yeah, for sure the answer is true because 12 is greater than 5. Okay, 7 is less than or equal to 5. Is it true? This is false. Because 7, it's greater than 5, it's not less than, and it's not equal. So the answer is false. Okay, let's assume that X is equal to 10 and Y is equal to 7. And I want to evaluate the relational expression here. So X will be substituted by 10. Now 10, is it equal to 10? 10, is it equal to 10? The answer is true. Now X will be substituted by 10 and Y substituted by 7. 10 not equal to 7. 10, is it not equal to 7? Also the answer is true. 10, it's not equal to 7. 10, is it equal to 8? It's false. 10, it is not equal to 8. Finally, 10, is it less than 7 plus 1? So 7 plus 1 should be evaluated first, which is 7 plus 1 equal to 8. 10, is it less than 8? This is false. It's not true. Do not confuse between single equal and double equal. And also, it will be explained in detail shortly. One important statement in Python or any programming language, which is the if statement. So the if statement is control structure. It's control structure. It allows to control the execution of the program. As you can see here, there is a condition, and the execution of the program, it might be to the right or to the next. According to what? According to the output of the if statement. Okay, by allowing the statements to be conditionally executed, it means this statement will be executed if this condition is true. Otherwise, if the condition is false, it will be skipped. As an example here, if it is cold outside, wear a coat, wear a hat, wear gloves. So is it cold outside? This will be evaluated as a condition. If the answer is yes, so wear a coat. And wear a hat. Then wear gloves and continue. Otherwise, continue without executing this. Okay, so this is the flow chart in order to check the grade. So this is an input-output operation. I have to use input-output symbol. And the content here will be print. Enter your grade. Then I have to get the answer from the user. Now I have to take a decision. Should I print only your grade is, or I have to print out congratulations and grade and your grade is? This is according to what? This is according to the output or the execution of this condition. If the grade is greater than or equal to 90, if this is true, so I have to print out first, congratulations. Second, great grade. Third, your grade is. But if this condition is false, which means the grade which is inserted by the user, it is not greater than 90 and it is not equal to 90, it's below. In that case, structure, according to the structure here, interpreter will not execute this statement, it will get out over here and execute this statement, which is your grade is, without congratulations, without grade. And this is how to write it. If, then the condition should be ended by colons, as you can see. I can write only one statement or more than one statement, and this will be considered as the body of the if statement. Okay, let's take an example here. Grade integer or equal integer input, enter your grade. So grade or input, enter between double quotation, your grade, please, space, colon space. Remember, I have to add the space manually because I'm not using print, I'm using input. And input will not add a space, so I have to add it manually. Okay, what will be the output of this? I am expecting that the user will be insert the grade. So the grade here will be considered as a value of type what? According to the example, I will consider it here as a value of type integer. Okay, so integer equal, or not integer equal, integer colon, parenthesis, sorry. Integer parenthesis, which means I am expecting a value that will be inserted by the user, and this value is a value of type integer. So the input from this statement will be an integer value. Okay, This integer value should be saved in a variable, and this variable will be grade equal to. So the sequence of the execution is display this message to the user, get the answer from the user, and this answer will be of type integer. This answer will be saved in a variable, which is in this name grade. Now I have to write an if statement, parenthesis, colon. Write the condition over here. If the grade is greater than or equal to 90. If the grade is greater than or equal to 90, what should I do? Print out congratulations, grade. So print congratulations, then print okay, let's use the single quotation, and I have to use, or I have to type the grade. Great in single quotation and here in double quotation. Finally, according to grade. Okay, according to here, your grade is. So print double quotation, your grade is, and I can add comma, grade, and there is no need to add the space, as I mentioned earlier. Print will automatically add a space between the parameters. Okay, what will be the output in this case? Here, let's test, compile and run, is expecting my input, so 80. Why I got your grade is 80? Because 80 will be saved in the grade. Now, the interpreter will try to evaluate this condition. 80, is it greater than or equal to 90? The answer is false. So because this will be evaluated by false, so whatever coming after the if statement will not be executed, and whatever out of the if statement, this is out of the if statement because it is in the same level of the if statement, the print operation here. So this will be the output of my execution, which is your grade is grade, and the grade is 80, which is inserted by the user. What about if this condition will be evaluated by true? Test, compile and run. If this condition evaluated by true, like 91, enter. So 91, is it greater than 90? The answer is yes. So please print out congratulations, print it out. Print out great grade, print it out. And print out in both cases this message, because this will be printed if this condition is true and if this condition is false. But this code will be executed only if this condition is true, because it is under the body of the if statement. But this is not related completely to the if statement. So if the if statement is true or not true, this is in both cases will be executed, but this code will be executed only if this condition is true. Okay, what about here? Very clear. This code will be executed no matter what is the evaluation of the condition, true or false. I will get both output. But congratulations here will be executed only if this condition is true. Let's test, compile and run. If my answer is equal to 50, I will get both outputs, grade, and your grade is, which is this one and this one. Why? Because this print and this print in the same level of the if statement. This print belongs to the if statement. It's in different level. So the indentation here is very important. Should I move it back like this or move it forward like this. Why I got an error here? I got an error here because the interpreter is expecting something to be executed if the if statement is true. And according to my code here, there is nothing related to the if statement, so I will get an error. So if you want to execute this statement and this statement and this statement, no matter what is the evaluation of this condition, I have to add another print over here. For example, thank you for your efforts. Thank you for your efforts. This will be printed if his grade is equal to 90 or greater than 90. And this will be printed no matter what is the value of the grade. Compile and run, 90. So 4 outputs, this one and the 3. Compile and run, 89. 3 outputs only, this one and this one and this one, which is here. Do not forget to place colon, none, after the if statement. Do not forget. Increase the indent after an if statement to indicate the scope of the block, which lines are affected by the if statement. So this line will be affected by the if statement. So I have to add an indent, which is tab. Click on tab. Click on tab. If this one will be affected by the if statement, tab. If this one will be affected, tab. And so on. Let's test this code. Compile and run. 80. Only one statement because this code is not affected by the if because I didn't add a tab. Okay, compile and run. 90. The 3 lines here will be printed along with this one because there is a tab, which is, it means this code will be affected by the if statement. So increase the indent, it means add a tab. Increase indent, it means add a tab. Reduce the indent back to the level of the if statement to indicate the end of the block. So if this shouldn't be executed with the if statement, I have to decrease the indent by removing the tab. Okay, can I do this? No. One, I will increase the indent because it's related to the if. And the second one, I will decrease the indent because it's not related to the if. And the third one, I will increase because it's related to the if. Actually, here you are not following the order structure or the sequential structure. You have to move, if this one is related to the if statement, so this statement should be shifted over here like this. Oh, undo, 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 cut, paste, undo, and okay. So in this case, you will not get an error. I have to follow the sequence of the execution. So undo, undo, undo. Let's return back to the original answer, which is here. Yeah, congratulations, great, great. Okay. If else statement. If else statement, it means if this condition is true, this body of the if statement will be executed. Otherwise, this one will be executed. So let's take an example. If the score is greater than or equal to 60, print passed, otherwise print failed. Let's test. Enter your score, please. And I will get the score, not the grade. And here I want to test the score if it is greater than the 60. So print what? Print passed. Else, E-L-S-E. Then once I add colon, it will be shifted back to the same level of the F. Look. Okay. And in that case, I will print out failed. So this statement will be executed if this condition is true. However, this statement will be executed if this condition is not true. And this is the structure of the if else, or this is how to use the if else statement. If condition is true, execute the first block, otherwise execute the second block. Can I have more than one statement? Yes, for sure. Print, Thank you. And here, print, good luck. For example, test. My answer is equal to 90, passed, thank you. If my answer is equal to 59, so failed, good luck. Okay. So x is equal to integer, input, enter a number if x is greater than positive or negative. Okay, let's test. Number, remember, do not use a variable like x, y, z, and the variable name should reference its value. So this is a number. So number equal input integer, enter a number. So integer and input and the prompt. Enter a number, please. Colon space. Now, if the number inserted by the user is greater than what? Greater than 0. Yeah, in this case, I will print out positive in double quotation, in double quotation. Otherwise, else, I will print out negative. Save. Positive and negative. Save. Compile and run. So enter a number. If your answer is equal to 50, so you will get positive. If your answer is equal to -1, you will get negative. Okay, what is the output if the user enters 0? Let's test. Here, if the answer is equal to 0, so 0, is it greater than 0? The interpreter will evaluate this by what? By false. Now, if false, what will be executed? Negative. Because this line will be executed if this condition is true. Otherwise, it will be, the else part will be executed. So undo, undo, and test. 0, negative. Okay, write a program that will read 2 integer numbers and display the maximum one. Very easy. So number one, I can do it like this. Enter 2 integer numbers, please. So number 1 and number 2. So because I will be requesting from the user only one time to enter 2 numbers, so for the second input, it will be empty without no prompt. Otherwise, I can use this way. Enter an integer number, please. Okay, repeat this question one more time, but for number 4, enter an integer number, please. So I will be requesting from the user to enter an integer number for the first time, and it will be saved in number 3. Then I will be requesting from the user to enter another integer number, and it will be saved in number 4. Another integer number, and it will be saved in number 4. So what about if I print double quotation, comma, number 1, number 1, and number 2. Okay, copy paste. So here I will print number 3 and number 4. 3 and 4. Let's test this code if both will do the same task. So enter 2 integer numbers, please. 1, enter, 2, enter. So it will print out number 1. Yani I can add here, I can add here space equal, and I can add here space equal, and also I can add here space equal and one more space equal. Let's do one more test, compile and run. Okay. Okay, so 1 enter, 2, enter. So number 1 equal to 1, number 2 equal to 2. Enter an integer number here. Number 3, enter another integer number, number 4. So number 3 will be 3, number 4 will be 4. So I can use both ways in order to ask a user for only one question and get two different answers. And for each question, I can get an answer. For each question, I can get an answer. So this is valid, and this is also valid. Both are okay. So I have to print out the maximum. Here, I have to print out an if statement. I have to print out an if statement. So if number 1 is greater than number 2, colon, enter, I will print number 4, number 1, comma, is greater than, comma, number 2. That's it. Else, colon, copy paste, number 2 is greater than number 1. Save. Okay, so I'm doing the test for number 1 and 2, so there is no need for this code. I can comment the code here by adding hashing, 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 save. So this will be considered as a comment. Test, compile and run. So enter 2 integers. If my answer is equal to 5, then 10. So it will print out 10 is greater than 5. Okay. What about if my answer is 10, then 5? Also, it will print out 10 is greater than 5. So this is the code how to print out or how to get an answer from the user for 2 integer numbers and print out the biggest one. No need for this code. Compile and run for the 3rd time. 10, 11. So it will print out that 11 is greater than 10. For sure, I didn't consider the equality. I didn't consider the equality according to the question. Display only the maximum. Okay, write a program that will read 3 numbers and display if it, write a program that will read a number and display if it is odd or even. So integer, enter a number, please. In order to display if it is odd or even, I have to do the following condition. If number, no need for use number 1 or 2. If number modulus, is it what? Odd or even? Yeah, okay. So if modulus 2, if it is equal to 0, so in that case, I can say that number is, if it is equal to 0, is an even value. It's an even value. Otherwise, it's an odd value. That's it. Test. So if my answer is equal to 10, 10 will be considered as an even. Test. If my answer is equal to 11, 11 will be considered as an odd value. So this is how to test if the program is, if the number is odd or even. Okay. So write a program that will read a salary of the employee and deduct 10% as a tax if the salary is less than 10,000 and deduct 15% if the salary is 10,000 or more. And your program should display the net salary. So calculate the salary and display the net salary. So 10% as a tax if it is less than, 15% if it is equal to or more. Okay. So in that case, I will be requesting from the user to enter your salary, please. And the variable name should reflect the reference, or should reference the value it contains, so salary. Because I will get an answer from the user for the salary, it has to be saved in salary. Okay, so over here, if the salary is less than 10,000, if it is less than 10,000, so in that case, the tax will be equal to the salary multiplied the salary multiplied by 0.10, which is 10%. The salary will be multiplied 0.10 or 0.1. Okay, otherwise, it will be multiplied by 15%. Now I have to print out, so print out, double quotation, your salary is, and I will print out the salary. One more print, your tax is, and I will print out the tax. Then one more print, your net salary is, and between double quotation, I will subtract the tax minus the salary. Save. Okay, let's test. So if the salary is less than 10,000, let's say 5,000. So I'll do 50,000. Okay, 50,000. So the tax will be 15%. Let's take a small value in order to be able to trace it. So 5,000. So 5,000, your tax is 10% because it's below 10,000. So 10% of the 5,000 will be 500, and the net salary will be 4,500. Okay, what about if my salary is equal to 10,000? So 10,000, the tax will be 1,500, and the net salary will be 8,500, which is 10,000 minus 1,500. Okay. So if else works when we have only two choices, but there are many cases when we have more than two choices. For example, we want to read a number from a user and decide if it is equal to 0 or positive or negative. So again, the if else statement, it will works only if I have two choices. Like what? Like pass fail. Like pass or fail. Like odd or even. Like true or false. Okay? But in some cases, I will be having more than two choices. Like here, I will ask the user about a number. If this number is positive, I have to print it's positive. If it is negative, I have to print it's negative. Otherwise, it will be 0. So first condition here, is it equal to 0? If yes, thank you, print 0 and get out. If it is not equal to 0, I have two options or two choices now. It might be greater than 0, so it will be considered as positive. Otherwise, it will be considered as negative. How to do this in Python? To do this in Python, I can write if statement, then else, but the body of the else statement will be another if statement. Like here, enter any value, please. Then I will check if the value is equal to 0. If the value is equal to 0, so in that case, I will print out 0. Otherwise, I have to do one more if statement. If the value is less than 0, I will print out, for sure I have to add a colon here, I will print out less than 0, negative. However, if it is not 0 and not negative, for sure it's positive. For sure it's positive. Test. 0, 0, 5, positive, 1, positive, minus 10, negative. Okay, so here I have only three options or three choices, 0, positive, negative. But here I have A, B, C, D, F. How can I handle this? How can I ask a user about his score and check if his score is within the range of 90s? So 90s, I have to print out A, or B, or C, or D, or F. So in that case, I will request from the user, enter your score, please. Enter your score, please. And I will get the score. If the score is greater than or equal to 90, in that case, I will print out A. Else, If the score is greater than or equal to 80, for sure I have to do indentation here and here. So in that case, it will be B. Else, if the score is greater than or equal to 70, it will be C. Else, if the score is greater than or equal to 60, it will be D. Did I finish all the choices? A, B, C, D. Else, if it is not A, not B, not C, not D, for sure this is F. Okay, so ask the user, get the answer, check. Answer from the user, is it greater than or equal to 90? If this is true, so I will print out A, and the else part will never be executed, and this will be the end of the program. Test. My answer is 95. Thank you. A, and stop the execution. The else part will never be executed. Okay, what about if my answer is equal to 75? In that case, 75, is it greater than or equal to 90? No, so I have to execute else. 75, is it greater than or equal to 80? No, in that case, I have to execute else. 75, is it greater than or equal to 70? The answer is true. So I will get C, and I don't have any other code related to this if statement, so the rest of the code will be ignored, and this will be the end of the program. Okay, so this is how to write the program, similar exactly to this one. Similar exactly to this one, A, B, C, D, F, but here your grade is, and here I print only the grade. Okay? Okay. What about if LF else statement? If LF else statement, this is typically similar to this one, but instead of open a complete if statement, I can use something called else if. Else if. I will copy this code, paste, and I will apply it here. Else if colon. Sorry, colon at the end. Else if colon. Else if. Else. Okay, so this will produce the same result similar to this one. But here I used if else, if else, if else, and here I used else, if, else if, else if. So this is an else statement, but combined with an if statement. This is an else which is combined with an if statement, but this is an else which is include another if. So this is a nested if statement, which means if inside if inside if. But this one is else if, which is the if statement combined with the else in the same instruction or in the same line. Okay, so it will produce the same output. Test, compile and run 75. I will get the same answer twice, one as a result of this code and the other one as a result of this code. One more test, for example, 60, I will get the same result, DD, and so on. Okay, so this is how it will be written, similar exactly to the code over here, exactly. Okay, logical operators. Operators that can be used to create a complex Boolean expression, and operator or operator. Our binary operators connect two Boolean expressions into a compound Boolean expression. Not operator. Unary operator reverse the truth of it is Boolean operator. It will be explained in detail now. So for the AND operator, it creates a compound Boolean expression that is true only when both sub-expressions are true. True only when both are true only when both are true, but it will produce false in the other cases. Both false, false, one false, one true, false, one true, one false, false, only true if both is or if both are true. For the second one, which is the OR operator, it will be true all the time, but false if both operators or if both operands are false. So there is a mistake here. This is an OR operator, and it shouldn't be and. This should be OR, this should be OR, this should be OR, and this one should be OR. So false or false will be false. False or true will be true. True or false will be true. True or true will be true. The last one, or the second one, is not. It will reverse the value. Not true will be false. Not false will be true. So it takes one Boolean expression as an operand and reverse its logical value. And the truth table is not true is false and not false is true. Okay, how it will be evaluated? Let's substitute x by 12 and y by 5 and z by -4. So 12, is it greater than 5? This is true. And 5, is it greater than -4? This is true. So true and true will be true. Okay, 12, is it greater than 5? This is true. And -4, is it greater than 5? This is false. So true and false will be false. X, is it less than or equal to z, which is -4? This is false. 5, is it equal to -4? This is false. So false or false will be false. 12, is it less than or equal to -4? This is false. Y, which is 5, is it not equal to -4? This is true. So false or true will produce true, not the expression. So the expression should be executed first, which is 12, is it greater than or equal to -4? True. Not true will be false. Okay, precedence of the logical operators. The highest one is the not, followed by and, ended by or. So and or, and will be executed first. So 5 greater than 6, false. No matter what is this value, it will be false because and will produce true if both are true. But this one is false, so for sure the output of this logical operator will be false. 2, is it less than 3? The answer is true. True or false, the final answer will be true. Okay. I can use the and the or for the following. For example, for the and, I can use it in order to test if the value is within the range. So if the grade is greater than or equal to 0, but at the same time less than or equal to 100, so this is a range for the grade. If it is within this range, I can print out a message, valid range. I can use in order to make sure it is outside of the range. So if it is less than 0 or greater than 100, so in that case, I can say that it's invalid range. And this is how to write it, or sorry, this is not accepted in programming language. If you want to write if grade is greater than 0 and grade is less than or equal to 100, I cannot use the algebra format, which is if grade is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 100, it doesn't work. It's not accepted in high-level programming language. But the equivalent for this if statement is this one. Grade greater than or equal to 0, it has to be written like this: grade greater than or equal to 0. And at the same time, it has to be less than or equal to 100. Grade less than or equal to 100. But this is in algebra accepted, but it's not accepted. This one is not accepted in any high-level programming language, it has to be written like this and use the logical operator AND. And remember, AND OR will help you to check if the grade within a range or the grade out of the range. Okay, write a program that will read 3 integer numbers and print out the maximum. 3 integer numbers and print out the maximum. We can do it in many different ways. So enter 3 different numbers. Enter 3 different numbers. So number 1, copy paste 2, 3. As I mentioned, no need to add a prompt here and no need to add a prompt here. And this one will be 2 and this one will be 3. Save. Print out the maximum one. So I can print out the maximum one like this. If number 1 is greater than number 2 and at the same time number 1 is greater than number 3, so in that case I will print out colon for sure. At the end I will print out number 1 colon is greater than colon number 2 colon double quotation and colon number 3. For sure, no need for the spaces. I can remove the spaces like here and here. Save. That's it. Else or LF or else if, I will repeat the same condition one more time, but here it will not be number 1 greater than 2. It will be 2, is it greater than 1? At the same time, 2, is it greater than 3? If this is true, what should I do? I have to print out that number 2 is greater than number 1 and 3. And 3. Else, because this is the last option, so for sure, if number 1 is not the biggest one and number 2 is not the biggest one, so for sure, number 3 will be greater than number 1 and number 2. Let's test this code. Test this code. So I will make sure that the biggest one at the end, so 100, 200, 300, I will get that 300 is greater than 100 and 200, okay. Then 100, 300 in the middle, and 200 at the end, 300, okay. Then I will start with the biggest, 100, 200, so 300. Oh, I got an error here. So 300 is greater than, okay, so this is number 1, number 2, and number 3. Number 2, 1, 3, 3, 1, 2. Okay, so for 300, 100, 200, I will get the correct answer now. 300, 100, 200, I will get the correct answer now. Okay, so done. So this is valid, and this one also it's valid. I will compare x with y. Is it greater than? If yes, so compare x with z. If this is true, print out x. If this is not true, print out z. So this flow chart is accepted to convert it to a Python code, or I can do an if statement here. What's the difference between both answers? Here I used 1 decision, 2 decisions, 3 decisions, but here I used only 2 decisions. If statement, else without if. So this is accepted, and this is accepted as well. Okay, a software company sells a package that retails for $99 US. Quantity discount are given according to the following table. This is the table. 10% if the quantity between 10 and 19, 20% if the quantity between 2049, and 30% within this range, and 40% 100 or more. Write a program that will ask the user to enter the number of the packages purchased. The program should then display the amount of the discount, if any, and then print out the total amount of the purchase after the discount. Okay, so I have to request from the user the quantity first in order to be able to calculate or to compute the discount. So over here, quantity. Enter the purchased Quantity, please. Okay, so there is no need for this code. Okay, so once I get the answer from the user, I have to compute the discount amount. So the discount amount will be 10% within this quantity, 20%, 30, and 40. Okay, so an if statement over here, if the quantity greater than or equal to 10% and the quantity less than or equal to 19, quantity greater than or equal to 10 and quantity less than or equal to 19, if this is true, in that case the discount will be 10%. For sure I have to add a colon, so discount will be 10%. So 10%, it means multiply the quantity by the cost for each piece, and multiplied by 10%. So the result will be the discounted amount. Okay. Else if I will repeat the same one more time, but in this case 2049. This will be 20, and this one will be 49. So in that case, the discount will be 20%. Copy, undo, paste. 50 to 99, 50 to 99, it will be 30%. Else if greater than or equal to 100 without a limit after that, so this will be 40%. Should I add here quantity? Is it greater than or equal to 100? Should I add it? For sure, yes. Because if I write else without if statement, I will consider a sign or give a 40% discount even if the quantity is below 10. But the 40%, this is only if the quantity is greater than or equal to 100. So this is the correct answer, and this answer is not correct. This answer, sorry, undo, I can delete this line. Yeah, this answer is not correct. Else colon. This is not correct. Why? Because here, quantity will be multiplied by the base cost multiplied by 40%, and I will provide a discount of 40% if the quantity not in this range, not in this range, not in this range, which means greater than 100, but at the same time less than 10. 9 pieces will be eligible for 40%. 5 pieces will be eligible for 40%. So I have to make sure that the if statement for the 100 also exists like this. If the quantity is greater than or equal to 100. In that case, I can print out the following. Print out what should be the result here? The program should display the amount of the discount, the total amount of purchases after the discount. Okay, so the amount before the discount, comma, so I have to multiply the quantity multiplied by the cost per piece. Okay, copy paste. Now the discounted amount equal to the discount. Undo, discounted amount equal to the discount. Now the amount after the discount will be this one minus the discount. Save, and let's test. Let's test. Okay, test. So if it is within 10, so 10, it will be multiplied by 99, and the total will be 990, and I will be eligible for 10%, so the discount will be 99, and after discount, so I will subtract 990 out of 99, and it will produce this amount, okay? If it is equal to 100, so 100 will be 9,090, and the discounted will be 40% of this value, which is this value. And when I subtract 9,900 minus, or when I subtract 3,960 out of the 9,900, so the result will be 5,940. What about if my answer is below 10, which is 5? In that case, it will produce an error because I didn't initialize the discount. So let me please initialize the discount here by 0, compile and run. So 5 only. Yeah, here the previous error because I tried to print out the discount, and this statement never executed, never executed, never executed, never executed. So I tried to print out the discount, which is not initialized. For that, I got an error. So I have to initialize discount here, because if all conditions are false, the default value of the discount will be printed with no error. Otherwise, if this does not exist, compile and run 5, I will get an error because the interpreter is trying to print out the discount and it's not exist because the amount is below 10. So undo, I have to initialize the discount by 0. In that case, I will get the correct answer. For 5 multiplied by 99 will be this value, and he is not eligible, the customer not eligible for any discount, so the discounted amount will be 0, and we'll get this result, which is the same value. Okay, so this is the end of the webinar. I hope that you enjoyed this webinar. If you have any questions or for more information about the professional training programs offered by the Continuing and Professional Education Directorate at the University of Doha for Science and Technology, please contact the CPE team through the email or the phone numbers provided over here. Thank you.